Yeah, it was had a bit of nerves Saturday morning for the Middlesbrough game. Having seen their results, they'd had two tight results pushing back good sides, and then the weather. The weather sometimes can make it anyone's game regardless of form, and it was proper tipping down. But I needn't have worried because I thought we were really, really, really good on Saturday. I don't think we had a tackle to make in our 22 because we were so good with possession even in those conditions. And territory-wise, I think Jono showed all his experience on Saturday. We were landing the ball on a sixpence and they just couldn't get out of their half. I think they struggled in the weather a bit to kind of put phases together and test us really. But also, in addition to that, defensively we were really at the races. Two maul tries, which is good. It shows that that's another layer being added to the games from the previous 2 weeks where we've actually moved the ball quite well. So it's just showing at the minute we've kind of had 3 games in very different conditions and we've managed to adapt to them. So really happy after them first 3 league games, yeah. I think they all kind of this week went as you'd expect in terms of the form from the first 2 weeks. Penrith had a good result over at Driffield. That were kind of the crunch game this weekend where you had 2 teams in the top 4 or 5 playing each other. Some of the words coming out from Driffield themselves actually was that they just played the wrong game on Saturday in the conditions. So that probably tells us that Penrith, similar to ourselves, adapted really well, which sets it up nicely for a week on Saturday. But other than that, I think the rest of the results were as you'd expect. Ilkley and Sandal looked a good game in terms of the score, given the conditions. I think 60-odd points scored in that. I spoke to somebody from Sandal earlier on in the week who said that Sandal's team from last year would have dealt with that Ilkley team, but ultimately Ilkley 3 from 3 and have got 15 points too, so it might have just been a little bit of bitterness. You never know. Nice to get into the cup. A lot of clubs these days devalue the cup, but we're absolutely not doing that, using it as an opportunity to give some boys who've been knocking on the door a chance, but also fielding a really strong team, even though there's those changes. Driffield likewise, obviously, showing the cup the respect it deserves and honour in the fixture. Seen quite a few teams concede and use it as a week off, which thankfully us and Driffield aren't doing. So it's nice to see that, and excited. There's 4 boys making their debuts, which I think you'll touch on later, and then some boys getting their first opportunity of the season. I think I counted up 8 or 9 of the starting 15 haven't featured in the first team yet for the weekend. So that's a real good opportunity for them with some tough games coming up, and then equally boys coming off the bench, I think, for their first appearance too. So yeah, nice mix of established and sort of new faces for Saturday. So I think the 2 big ones that people probably want to know when they're going to return is Ferg, firstly. Ferg's trained most of pre-season. As we've got into the season now, he's picked up what he's taking part in. He's looking sharp. He's spent quite a bit of time with the backs doing some handling stuff because he's not quite ready to join in with the forwards, and he's looking sharp. So there's maybe a new 12 to come with how sharp he's looking with his hands, but I think he actually probably wants to end up back in the second row. No return date for him, but week by week he's building up, and we don't need to rush him. We're in the fortunate position where we've got a bit of cover at second row, and when he's ready, I'm sure everyone will be glad to see him back. And then Danny Cole, DC, obviously missed all of last season by the first 80 minutes. Similar to Ferg, has taken a real part in pre-season, has trained really well. I think he's just waiting for the last sort of sign-offs to be able to do a bit of contact. So again, another great addition to an already good group of players. Johnny Cole took a knock in pre-season. He's actually back available, but I think work commitments have stopped him featuring in squads this weekend and last weekend. So he'll be back available, which if you look at the teams we've put out in the last 2 or 3 weeks, both firsts and seconds, to think that those 3 are then going to come back in and bolster it as well is a really good position to be in. We're looking really strong.